On the eve of the New Hampshire primary, which is tonight, Donald Trump did a rally in New Hampshire, and it was really something to behold. Now, we're going to go through some of the key moments. And for me at this point, the wacky part is less about what Trump says, although obviously Trump is wacky and saying absolutely ridiculous things. It's more about the supporters at this point who just nod and clap along with whatever Donald Trump says. This rally was the epitome of what I would call Trump culture, where facts don't matter. Riling up a crowd with red meat that is completely dishonest, if not factually false, is all that matters. And now, to start with, as many of you know, Donald Trump has a very weird history about talking about how he finds his daughter Ivanka very attractive. He's even said things before like, if she weren't my daughter type of stuff. And we've covered that widely before. And once again, Donald Trump talking about the beauty of his daughter. And he seems to recognize here, because he says, I'm not supposed to say that. He seems to recognize that this is something that is a little weird to be saying. Again, yesterday talking about Ivanka, and now clearly referencing the fact that he said weird things about her in the past. Take a look.
Also a woman that not too many people know. Very powerful, very smart. Very beautiful, even though I'm not allowed to say that because she's my daughter, Ivanka.
Trump then went, as weird as that was, into his normal attacks on the media, claiming that they never show the crowd at his rallies, they only show his face. What's hilarious is, as he started to say that, they were showing the crowd, and they continued to show the crowd during this portion of the speech.
News, these guys will never report that. They'll never report it. They don't even like showing the crowd. They always show my face. They never show the crowd. But you know what? The people can hear the crowd. The people can hear the crowd. They know.
The crowd, of course, visible at the start and at the end of that 25-second clip during which Trump says, they never show the crowd at my rallies. And the crowd, of course, just loves it. And of course, that's more of the firing up of his base against the media, which unfortunately has led to so much hostility against the concept of a free press. More than any president in recent history, Donald Trump has really catalyzed and coalesced a hatred, if not disdain, for media in the United States under the guise often of fake news, and we know the memes that he's used. Trump then goes on to talk about how undocumented immigrants have no addresses, which is, of course, a strange thing to say. But more importantly, he seems confused between undocumented immigrants and homeless people. We have video, remember, of Donald Trump being confused between health insurance and life insurance. That's a funny and depressing one. We have videos of Trump being confused about many different things. In this video, Trump seems confused about the difference between an undocumented immigrant and a person who is homeless. And then, of course, he throws in the normal dehumanizing language that he uses about immigrants.
Record numbers, and we've ended catch and release. You know what catch and release is? You catch an illegal alien by law. You then take his name and address. They don't have addresses. What's your address? What? They don't have addresses. They come into the country. They don't have addresses. So you take his name.
Trump then raises the lie that he simply won't stop telling, which is that in 2016, buses full of Massachusetts voters were sent up to New Hampshire to vote illegally. And that's the only reason why Hillary Clinton ultimately defeated Trump by 0.3% there. It's not because she really won. It's because Massachusetts voters voted illegally in New Hampshire. Now, of course, there's no evidence whatsoever for that claim. But if you're watching, watch his audience start to nod with Donald Trump about the hundreds of buses of Massachusetts voters sent up to vote illegally. And if you're listening, you'll, of course, hear the booing and the audio of his supporters immediately just falling for this hook, line, and sinker.
Because, you have some pretty strange election laws here, right? Remember last time we won the primary tremendously? We should have won the election, but they had buses being shipped up from Massachusetts, hundreds and hundreds of buses. And it was very, very close, even though they did. But this year, we have a great governor.
Look at how little the truth is worth, that Donald Trump casually lies about hundreds of buses. Understand hundreds of buses, right? Aside from there being no evidence of this, a lot of these polling places in New Hampshire are tiny. They would be completely overwhelmed and paralyzed by even 10 buses showing up. Never mind hundreds of buses being sent up to New Hampshire, but the crowd doesn't care. They clap and they boo and they nod along to the lies that Donald Trump tells. And then again, riling up the crowd towards possible violence, Donald Trump pulls this entire thing about we're going to protect your guns. They are going to take all of your guns and all of your money and all of your stuff. Take a look.
We're going to protect your Second Amendments. By the way, they're going to take away everything. They're going to take away your wealth. They're going to take away your guns. They're going to take away everything.
The cult of Trumpism, it's very dangerous. We wonder, how do people believe this stuff? A guy himself potentially not mentally well so easily is able to get a stadium full of people to believe what he says, or even if they doubt it, to rationalize him saying it. And this is how cults work, truly. I mean, more and more, when you look, there are more and more cult experts that are looking at the cult of Trumpism. And it is reminiscent in so many ways of the cult leader who says April 21st will be the rapture. We will either be struck down here on earth or ascend to a life in eternity in heaven or whatever. And then April 21st comes and goes. And they rationalize it away. With Trump, it's either, well, the Democrats ruined it, or the fake news media ruined it, or Trump was using it as a metaphor. He didn't literally mean, or whatever the case may be. It is scary stuff. And this is why I am afraid of violence. I'm sort of afraid of violence no matter what happens in November of 2020. But of course, if Donald Trump ultimately loses and claims that it was rigged, I am very worried about the real world violence that these folks are potentially going to do. Let me know your thought on that. I'm on Twitter at Pakman. We'll take a quick break and be back after this. I want to encourage everybody in my audience to go subscribe to a YouTube channel we're partnering with. It's called Upflip. They release new videos every week. In every video, you meet a different entrepreneur and get an in-depth look at how their business works and how they became successful. It's great if you like shows like Shark Tank. If you own your own business or you're thinking of starting one, the Upflip YouTube channel really does offer a wealth of knowledge and inspiration. As an entrepreneur myself and a business owner, I've really been enjoying hearing all of the different stories of the people that they interview. But it's really fascinating content, even if you don't own your own business too. Go check out the Upflip YouTube channel. They're friends of the David Pakman Show. I'd love it if you would support them by subscribing to their channel. You can find the Upflip YouTube channel by going to davidpakman.com/upflip. If you're watching this on YouTube, I've put the link right underneath this video.